Rhea Chakraborty and her brother and other members of the team that she assembled allegedly to defraud and torment Sushant Singh Rajput is going to exit the Enforcement Directorate office in Mumbai. What you're seeing right now is yet another member of her inner circle who has just finished the questioning process. After 7 hours, Shruti Modi has stepped out, and you can see, judging from the melee around her, that the media has several hundred questions. Several hundred questions. These are the pictures that are coming live to you from, in fact, that interrogation. We are being told, viewers, that all three of these individuals, the brother, Rhea Chakraborty, and this individual, have been interrogated in separate rooms. We are also being told that Rhea Chakraborty, as of now, is not complying, is not cooperating, is stonewalling questions, either feigning ignorance or saying that she needs to consult her lawyers and that she will respond only after consulting her lawyers. That's what we are being told, viewers. She's also pretending, from what we are being told, that she is not aware of details of financial statements, etc., that are being put down before her. So, viewers, this is very, very interesting. The sequence that you are seeing on your screens of events, this has been going on since the morning. But viewers, last night at this time, and let's change the lines and the top bands, etc., Nizam Bhai. Let's go into our big story. Last night, at this time, we revealed how pages were ripped out of Sushant Singh Rajput's personal diary. Today, Times Now has accessed more evidence, viewers, much more evidence, that raises fresh questions over the conduct of the Mumbai police. First, we've accessed call data records between current DCP Bandra, Abhishek Trimukhya, and prime accused Rhea Chakraborty after Sushant's death. Now, we are going to show you the pictures of those call data records. These call data records, viewers, show at least four conversations between Rhea Chakraborty and Abhishek Trimukhya. No, the call data records that we have been showing all day today are very, very crucial, viewers. Very, very crucial. Because they show that there has been contact even after Sushant Singh Rajput's death between Rhea Chakraborty and also senior members of the Mumbai police, in this case, Abhishek, who is the current serving DCP of Bandra. And we are talking about Abhishek Trimukhya. So, Nizam Bhai, you need to take out that and put it on air, because that is very, very crucial. It shows that there has been what many, many legal experts tell us, illegal conversations. Because by law, the DCP should not be speaking to a prime accused. Only the IO genuinely speaks to an accused, because the IO or investigating officer is looking directly after a case. And we have seen in the past senior police officials being reprimanded. One was transferred because of the undue interest that particular police officer took in another very high-profile murder executed allegedly by two very, very high society individuals in Mumbai a few years ago. So, viewers, that is the call data record that suggests that some sort of an unholy alliance existed between the Mumbai police and Rhea Chakraborty. But, viewers, now we are going to reveal more evidence that suggests that the Mumbai police may have more questions to answer. Some days back, viewers, you may recall, Times Now had shown you desperate messages of help. WhatsApp messages. There they are on your screens. Sent from Sushant's family to former DCP Bandra Paramjeet Dahiya. Now, Paramjeet Dahiya, viewers, was the officer in charge of Bandra before the current one, who has been found to be communicating with Rhea Chakraborty. But this former officer of Bandra, Paramjeet Dahiya, viewers, you may recall, ignored these messages of help sent by Sushant Singh Rajput's family. Had he acted on those messages, Sushant Singh Rajput's death might have been averted, but he did not. Now, viewers, we can tell you that Officer Dahiya, in fact, has been exposed by his own police force. It's the first time this news is breaking here on Times Now, that this very officer had been exposed by his own police force for virtually burying complaints under dubious circumstances. Police Complaint Cell indicted then DCP Bandra Paramjeet Dahiya in 2019, viewers. Why? For not filing FIRs. Now, viewers, this is very, very serious. So here is Mr. Dahiya, who ignored Sushant Singh Rajput's call for help. The same Dahiya who had been pulled up by the complaints authority of the police for burying FIRs. Now, viewers, there are n number of reasons, and I don't know why Dahiya did so, but there are n number of reasons why police officers can sometimes bury FIRs. There could be pressure, they could be bribed. There also might be reasons which are professional. They didn't think necessary. There might have been some lapses. But in Paramjeet Dahiya's case, it was not a judgment call. He has been indicted for burying FIRs, viewers. Indiction means that you have been found guilty at some level of an offense. And in fact, viewers, we can tell you that this is the same Dahiya who ignored Sushant Singh Rajput's SOS. How is this even being allowed, this farce to continue? If an officer is indicted, should he be occupying a position of sensitive authority? And has he continued his behavior on dubious grounds to deny help to Sushant Singh Rajput? And remember, those complaints in those WhatsApp messages were made in February 19th and 25th. And Dahiya acknowledged receiving them, said, I will act. But did he act? No, he didn't act. In fact, he said, the complaint should have been given to me in writing, which makes a mockery of Supreme Court and High Court judgments that say that WhatsApps and emails are acceptable legal tender. So, viewers, now you have two officers who have behaved strangely, anomalously in this case. One Dahiya and the other one Trimukhe, his successor. Dahiya goes out, Trimukhe comes in. Trimukhe begins a conversation after Rajput's death with Rhea Chakraborty. What were they talking about? We don't know. Was Rhea Chakraborty telling him not to act? We don't know. Was she offering him inducements not to act? We don't know. Why was he taking undue interest, which is being deemed illegal, an oversight? And what about Paramjeet Dahiya, who was indicted for not filing FIRs? Was he continuing in the same track record? Viewers, these are very serious questions. And when you couple that with the sting operation that we've done today, which tells us that several lapses have taken place in the conduct of the forensic collection of evidence from the house and bedroom of Sushant Singh Rajput, it raises some serious, serious questions. Not only was Sushant Singh Rajput's diary ripped up, but also in the second sting that we showed you, viewers, the forensic panel says that we were told by the cops not to come immediately. In fact, we landed up in Sushant Singh Rajput's house. Yes, pay attention to what I'm saying. On the third day. Now, between the first day, the first hours, and the third day, viewers, a lot could have actually changed. People could have tampered with the evidence. Why did the police not want the forensic team there then and that time? Why did they call them only 3 days later? More importantly, viewers, why weren't instructions given to pick up vital clues from Sushant Singh Rajput's own person, the body? Nail clippings were not taken because instructions were not given. Now, nail clippings are important, viewers, because they can bring out details like whether the individual had consumed toxic substances or not. These are very important evidences that need to be collected and presented and analyzed. Not done. It wasn't done. So is it fair to ask today, viewers, that the Mumbai police is part of a cover-up? That's the question. And I want to bring in, first of all, Mukul Rohatgi, who is part of the defense team really representing the interests of the Sushant Singh Rajput family. Mr. Rohatgi, thank you for taking the time out. I have set the entire store by revealing certain details which had not been revealed in the past. And these details cast a big question mark over the conduct of the Mumbai police. Mr. Rohatgi, what do you make out of this, sir? Good evening.
Good evening. See, I can elaborate on the legal wrangle which is going on. I am not privy to the kind of evidences which you have discussed in the last 10 minutes that I've seen.
Yes.
But as far as the legal wrangle is concerned, I want to tell you and your viewers in very, very simple terms. After Mr. Rajput died by suicide, apparently, the law requires the local police to conduct what is called an inquest. An inquest is only to determine the cause of death, whether it is natural or unnatural. They have to see whether he died by hanging, or did he consume poison, or was he murdered? So that is what is called inquest. These are magisterial proceedings. They are supposed to be done in 24 hours. That has nothing to do with an accusation by one against the other. So in the real sense of the term, there is no first information report about any person against any person in relation to a crime. As far as the parents are concerned, they lodged an FIR. That is the first information about the death of their son in the local police station with which they are concerned. They cannot be expected to travel to Bombay to lodge an FIR in Bandra.
True.
So they lodged an FIR with the Bihar police. They put their suspicions and grievances, and they have made serious allegations against Miss Rhea Chakraborty and her family. Now that FIR has to be investigated according to law by the Bihar police. Pursuant to that investigation, the Bihar police sent a very senior IPS officer. An IPS officer is an officer of the union government who is with the state. So he went there, and mind you, it was shocking to see that a senior IPS officer is locked up purportedly in a quarantine, quote unquote, by an agency of the state government. I mean, I shudder to think what will happen if these kind of things happen between different states. The entire federal polity of this country will crumble. You will have no democracy left. There will be rule of the jungle. But that apart. Now, with this kind of hullabaloo going on, the whole country watching, the Bihar government did the wisest thing. to avoid any charge of being parochial. So the law requires that they can make a request to the Central Bureau of Investigation, which is a body of the union government. It's a police force of the union, not of any state. And in such matters, CBI is asked to step in. So they made a request to show that they are not parochial. And the CBI, I'm glad to say, responded, and they have taken up the investigation. So now they have lodged their own FIR. The Bihar FIR is kind of merged into the FIR of the CBI.
Yes.
They have named a couple of accused, including Rhea and her family, and they will investigate. That is the end of it. Neither Bihar nor Mumbai will have anything to do with it at all. And the stand of the Mumbai police that Bihar registered an FIR without jurisdiction is completely wrong. The FIR has to be registered as per an aggrieved person. Now, if the aggrieved person is in Bihar, he will register it in Bihar. He can't go to Bombay to register it. Therefore, this controversy must be put to rest. The CBI will investigate. The CBI has commenced. After FIR, the next step is investigation. They will commence investigation. They must have commenced today or tomorrow. And I think the Supreme Court on the next date of hearing will put a quietus on this legal wrangle and save this country from this intrastate kind of dispute, which is very, very unsavory. And I must say, the Mumbai police, supposedly known for its professionalism, acted in a very undignified and an unprofessional manner. So let this come to an end. The truth will come out through the hands of an impartial agency. And I'm sure and I hope the Supreme Court puts a quietus on this in the next week. That is the sum and substance of all this.
Well, that also looks like perhaps the best option here, that this matter goes through an independent agency for review. Thank you, Mr. Rohatgi, for joining us and putting this entire matter in the right context. Of course, he is representing the family as also the Bihar government
I'm representing only the Bihar government.
And the Bihar government, yes. And the Bihar government in this particular matter. So obviously he's putting his point of view forward, but he's basing it on logic. Thank you very much. And let me tell you, viewers, there are 4 things tonight. There are 4 things that we have to look out for. Number 1, very important in this matter, the desecrated diary, the torn diary, asking big questions of whether evidence has been tampered. Number 2, viewers, CDR shows, Rhea's CDR shows unauthorized calls between herself and the current DCP of Bandra, Mr. Abhishek Trimukhe. Unexplained calls, viewers. Legal experts say these are illegal conversations to be having. Only the IO of the case should be ideally talking to Rhea Chakraborty. So what was the pressing need for Trimukhe to jump in and start speaking with Rhea? Is there some pressure that was applied by Rhea? Inducement offered? We don't know. But certainly, viewers, the Mumbai police has not acquitted itself well. Is these conversations linked to the inactivity of the Mumbai police, as well as, of course, their ineptitude? Number 3, most importantly, the complaint report, which Times Now shows former Bandra top cop has a history of burying complaints, viewers. Yes, Mr. Dahiya, remember, did not act on SOS messages sent by Sushant Singh Rajput's family to him. Is that because he has a history of not doing so, and a dubious one, indicted by the panel? Very serious, very serious. And 4th, that there are lapses in collecting forensic evidence. And that today is being admitted by none other than the forensic panel. Listen to this, viewers. They are telling you that lapses have been committed, and we've got them on camera.
Do you think any suspicious was there, or anything which needs further investigation?
बट ये जो पेज होता है फर्स्ट पेज नाम लिखा है उसका डिसीज का पेज करते we could not make a mind what this might have on, who might have on, who might have taken it. That we cannot, that we noted, that we mentioned in our report also. लेकिन आपको कोई ब्लड टेस्ट मिले, ना उसका वो बहुत ज़्यादा पेंडिंग मिला, आगे भी अच्छा था. क्वेश्चन लाइक भी मैं डॉक्टर इमरजेंसी है, इसकी हेल्थ हाइट का उसको लगा नहीं करता.
बट डिप्रेशन थोड़ा वीक तो हो ही गया था. इसका डायरी का फोटो दे सकती
नहीं दे दो क्या
हम. अच्छा ठीक है, आप दिखा दो.
रेड कलर है
और ब्लैक और ब्लैक कलर से इसके ब्लैक के आगे इसके आगे कुछ खाली
नाही सर एक नाव आहे आणि नावाच्या नंतर पानं
आगे और लास्ट में जाता है जब जाते जाते लिखा था आपने जब जा रहे थे बोले डायरेक्ट लिखा है
ये नाम है उसका
सर जब वहां पे आप लोग गए, डिड यू फाइंड एनीथिंग सस्पिशियस और समथिंग डिफरेंट ऑन विच वी शुड वर्क ऑन? मैं अखबार नहीं पढ़ना सर, मैं सीधे आप
अपन थर्ड डे को गए थे.
थर्ड डे को एकदम 16 को गए थे कि आप
हम लोग थर्ड डे को गए
जी
पुलिस बुलाया था. सेकंड डे को भी बुलाया क्योंकि यहाँ कोरोना का भी उतना ज़्यादा चल रहा था ना, फिर हम लोग वक्त नहीं निकाला. और थर्ड डे को जाने के बाद हम लोग बीन एक्सकॉर्टेड बाय सर्टेन ऑफिसर बिकॉज बाहर बहुत क्लियर थी मामले को. हम लोग सीधा उनको स्पॉट करके लेके गए उनको 6th फ्लोर पे हम लोग पहुँचे. 6th फ्लोर के ऊपर ही वो थोड़ा सा स्टेयर टॉप में उनका बेडरूम टाइप का थोड़ा 3-4 टाइप का होगा, सेल्फ कंटेंट था, बेडरूम है. हम लोग देखे कि भाई वो जो लैट है लोकल में होल है अंदर, तो नोटिस कर दी. वो तो पहले प्लास्टिक टेप से उन्होंने बंद करके रखा. हमारे सामने में खोला एंटर इंसान हम लोग ब्रॉडली ऑब्जर्व किए पूरा पहले क्या क्या चीजें है. फैन 3 साइड पेड़ होता है, साइड में टेबल से मार्बल के लगे हुए दीवार पे और कुछ चीजें रखी हुई है. बाथरूम है अंदर छोटा, उसमें अपना बागिंग का सब जो भी आर्टिकल से वो रखे हुए बॉटल के फ्रिज है. ये ब्रॉडली हमने देखा. Then we try to see each and everything minutely. क्योंकि स्पॉट पर जरा हमने जो पुलिस देते हैं ना डायमेंशन को सब थोड़ा वेरीफाई करते हैं प्रॉपर टेक्निक. तो बेड जो सब इंसान है उसका एक नॉट एक्जैक्टली इन द मीटर, द फैन इज स्लाइटली ऑन द वन साइड, नॉट एक्जैक्टली. वो थोड़ा सा ये समझ लो कि इसका एक एज है बेड का, उसका थोड़ा सा नॉट सेंटर ये साइड में होगा.
ठीक है.
हमने देखा कि ये तो फ्रेंड थोड़ा कम है, बट व्हेन द पर्सन साउंड एग्जैक्टली द लेग से नीचे मिड लेवल एंड फ्लोर एंड जो है ऑब्वियसली इससे ज़्यादा है.
Viewers, can there be any more doubt that the Sushant probe has been derailed by design? That's the fundamental question, and I always ask the fundamental flat questions. Viewers, there are 3 more questions that are going to come up on your screens in bold type so you can mull over them, think over them while I ask. Do the exposes prove collusion? Let's fire them. Are Mumbai cops soft on Rhea Chakraborty and her team of accomplices? Number 3, is there a design to derail the Sushant probe? These 3 questions will stay on the screen for a few more minutes, viewers, as I ask them of Dr. Anand Ranganathan, and I want to bring him in straight away. Tehseen Poonawala will defend tonight the Mumbai police. That is what we are being told. And Mr. Rajiv Pratap Rudy, member and national spokesperson of the Bharatiya Janata Party, that will tell us why the BJP, the centre, the JDU, or the JDU in Bihar rather, to be exact, believes that this is a botch-up, cover-up collusive exercise. Dr. Anand Ranganathan, why don't you situate the debate in the context of the question that I have asked?
Yes, absolutely. Good evening, Rahul. You know, from Bengal to Antarctica, there's no saying to what extent and where the CBI would go to catch the culprits. Because the mind boggles at the kind of botch-ups by the Mumbai police that you are unearthing every passing day. I mean, what the hell is going on? That day is not far, I tell you, when a politician's name gets directly linked to one of the 6 against whom an FIR has been registered by the CBI. It is not a question of if, Rahul, but when. My hunch is within a week or perhaps 2 weeks. That's the duration, the quarantine the petrified Maharashtra government has set for the CBI officers. And when that happens, this case would explode. Resignations would follow. Governments may fall. Old alliances would reform. I repeat, more than Bihar, this case has political ramifications for Maharashtra. Rahul, that the CBI is the most potent weapon in a politician's hand is not conspiratorial cynicism, but a statement based on precedents. Please allow me 30 seconds. Remember, it was the BJP that staged a nationwide protest in May 2010 crying that the UPA was using the CBI to blackmail opposition leaders to toe the line on budget proposals. In September 2013, Mr. Jaitley complained to the PM Manmohan Singh that the CBI was being used as a tool to frame Modi and Shah. Remember in 2008, when the left withdrew its support to the UPA, the CBI withdrew its case against Mulayam Singh, who then promptly supported the UPA. And a year later, they promptly readmitted the case. Enter the NDA, and the parrot remained a parrot, just that the shoulders changed. Since 2014, on the eve of almost every state election or a floor test, the CBI raids materialize magically in Haryana, Uttarakhand, Odisha, but the crown of thorns is worn by the SP and BSP. It is almost as though they are ping-pong balls in a table tennis match between the Congress and the BJP. So in short, one just hopes justice for Sushant isn't sacrificed at the altar of political maneuvering in Maharashtra the moment a politician names crops up. That is my biggest fear, because that would be a tragedy as big as the crime itself.
Now, viewers, there are deep, unfortunately, and this is a reality here in this country, deep, deep associations between politicians and policemen, because they usually serve, that is the police, at the behest really of our politicians. Reforms have been stunted, which has led to this very, very dangerous conflation. Now, viewers, if that is indeed what is happening, as Dr. Anand Ranganathan seems to suggest, then we are in for a lot of trouble. Sushant Singh Rajput is not certainly going to get justice in Maharashtra under the Mumbai police. That is a lot to answer for. But I have to bring in Tehseen Poonawalla. Tehseen Poonawalla, usually, you know, you come prepared with very sharp debating points. And I expect you today to answer the 3 questions that I have posed, because Mr. Rajiv Pratap Rudy is going to listen hawk-like at what you are saying. He's watching you also hawk-like. And he's going to pick holes if you can't today come up with the goods. Let me tell you this. And I'm going to ask you this question. I'm going to ask you this question very, very seriously. Is there a design to derail the Sushant probe? Do the investigations that have been conducted by Times Now point in that direction? Do the CDRs that we have accessed show that Mumbai police is soft on Rhea? Does the reluctance of the former DCP of Bandra to act on complaints that were made to him by the family of Sushant Singh Rajput suggest that there is something untoward, some kind of pressure on the police not to help out Sushant Singh Rajput? A death could have been prevented. It's very sensitive. And do these exposes therefore prove collusion? That's the question. I'm also going to be asking the viewers this question, viewers. So you can participate. But let's hear Tehseen, without taking us around the merry-go-round, answer these questions directly. Come on, Tehseen. World is watching.
I'm going to answer these questions directly, but let me just begin. Though I'm an atheist, I want to begin with a prayer for the 12-year-old girl raped in Delhi by Krishnan, whose private parts were left bleeding, and she's battling for life. I'm sure you'll all join me in prayer for her, including Rajivji, whose government governs Delhi, because there's been no debate on that girl or on.
Okay, look at the circuitous response. Now,
I want to come to.
Thank you.
Issue.
Thank you. We have been reporting on this story. Thank you.
There's been no debate.
Yes, it is a horrible tragedy that has happened.
Yes.
We can discuss that at another time.
Yes. there's
Right now, I
debate.
asked you
I'll
3
just tell you
questions.
this. Yes,
I don't
and
have
want
much
to come
time.
to
So
this.
if you really want to filibuster,
No,
then
I
that's
know,
up to you.
Come to this. I told you. I'm just praying for that 12-year-old girl.
Yeah,
who under
sure.
Amit Shah's
So let's
watch
then
is-
don't
is-
make
is-
it about
is-
Amit Shah and
So,
this, that,
as
the
George
other.
Orwell
Let's
said-
focus.
As George Orwell said,
And then
all
don't make
animals
it
are
about,
equal.
Kejriwal, Amit Shah, Rahul Gandhi, Priyanka Gandhi or Sambandhi. Let's keep it to the point, sir. Let's keep it to the point tonight. I
Right.
beg you.
Right.
This is also a serious issue. A man's life could have been saved had Dahiya acted in time. And there is Mr. P.K. Jain here, whose committee took cognizance and recommended punishment against DCP Dahiya because he had a habit, really, of refusing to register FIRs. That's why I'm asking you these questions. So also out of respect for the life of Sushant Singh Rajput, for whom also
Who I
I'm
knew.
sure you want justice, respond to the questions that I've asked you. Please, sir.
Right. Now, like I was starting with George Orwell, all animals are equal, but some are just more equal than the others. So let's come to this issue because as we know, justice also raised for Anupama Pathak or Samir Sharma. Samir Sharma also, who I knew vaguely, who committed suicide. So let's come to...
Well,
the
CBI has
issue.
officially taken collected evidence
let me
on the
come to
diary. Viewers, this is big times now. Impact. It's breaking right now. CBI takes over Sushant probe officially and is now collecting case diary from the Bihar police. Big times now. Impact here. So viewers, we have at least stood by Sushant Singh Rajput and forced action. Tehseen Poonawal, question to you.
Thank you.
Question to you.
Yeah.
You're still filibustering. Either you don't have the
I'm
goods.
not.
I'm giving you. I'm giving you 30
but I'm
seconds by the
interrupted.
watch. 30
All right.
seconds by the watch.
Okay.
If you have the goods, come up with them. If you don't, I'm moving on. I don't want to waste your time and mine and the viewers.
Okay.
Yeah, 30 seconds starts now. Yeah, let's go.
All right. Now let's come to the substance of the debate. CBI has been asked by Bihar police or by Bihar government to investigate. They are welcome to investigate the complaint made by Sushant's father. But to your precise question about the DCP not registering a complaint made on WhatsApp by a DCP or a police officer from Haryana, can I ask under what law was a complaint to be registered, where he says unofficially to pull a girl and to pressurize her to break up a relationship? That's his version. Now, both are innocent until proven guilty. That's the legal jurisprudence.
I asked you
Can
straight
give me the
question,
law and
Tehseen
the way?
Poonawala.
Second part. You asked
You've
me. I'm asking you
exhausted
the second
25
part.
seconds
Now, I'm
talking
asking
rubbish.
Please,
You have 5
please
more
ask me the
seconds.
second. Okay. You may consider something rubbish. I think the hashtag against Rhea is rubbish. We both are entitled to opinion. Can I make my
Okay.
second point now?
It's over.
Now, can
Your
I make
time
my
is
second
over,
point?
sir. I'm sorry.
Because you don't want
Put
to
your
hear.
thoughts together. When I'm coming back to you, you better be prepared for
Because
an
you
answer.
don't
Right
want to
now, you're
hear.
impressing nobody.
Because you don't
Okay,
want to hear.
Mr. Rudy,
Because you don't want to
Mr.
hear.
Rudy, the question is that this is a political intervention. I'm asking this question again. I want a straight response, sir. You're from the state of Bihar. Tell me, is this a political intervention? Time to the prospective Bihar elections.
It's a political intervention, yes. And if you ask me how is it a political intervention, the father of Sushant Singh institutes a case in Patna, Mr. K.K. Singh. And the police in Patna, there was a public uproar, there was a suspicion which was brewing up. And a team SIT was constituted and it was sent to Mumbai to investigate. Of course, there is a provision to quarantine, but all those who want to leave the state within 7 days do not stand quarantine. But this IPS officer, City SP Patna, was quarantined with the team. So thus, this gave the first suspicion. And when you say politics of the state, yes, the Nitish Kumar government want this investigation because there is a pressure on Nitish Kumar government because Maharashtra government did not respond to the CBI inquiry. And subsequently, I'm a proud Bihari and Sushant is a country cousin of ours. And his family members are known to me. So we went to the chief minister, the state went to the chief minister, 14 crore Biharis went to the chief minister. They said, we want an investigation. So the father instituted a case, and now when the team goes to Maharashtra, they are not allowed to investigate. So what does the chief minister do? He's helpless. And he cannot violate the constitution. So he says, fine, if you don't allow me to go, let us see if you allow the CBI to probe it. And it's within the right of the state government to transfer a case to the CBI. So if you call it politics, let it be politics. It doesn't matter at all to us. But an investigation has to be done. And if the state government fails to deliver, and if Maharashtra for whatever reason fails to deliver on the and there are evidences whether it is calls made to the DCP, whether it is a death of the secretary prior to that, whether it is the transfer of money from an X account to Y account, when there are charges about personal relationship going bad or whatever. But there are issues. I am not an investigator, and thanks to this case would not have come to this level had it not been the investigation on the part of you all. So it's something very beautifully what has happened in this country. Somewhere the police has failed in Maharashtra, somewhere the government has failed in Maharashtra. Even the state government of Bihar was helpless, and that is how we proceeded. So you can call it politics, yes, but no one planned the suicide or death of or
sometimes
of Sushant because there was election in Bihar.
Honesty,
this is an absurd.
Sometimes honesty pays. And the thing that I like about Mr. Rudy is that, yes, he's being absolutely honest. Son of the soil, country cousin, call him what you want. Biharis in Bihar today are upset that a son of the soil is not getting justice. And he laid it out. He said, yes, it's a political intervention. What else do you expect? Government's under pressure. Governments are always under pressure, whether it's in Uttar Pradesh, whether it's in Punjab, when a crime happens. Tehseen Poonawalla tried to also make a political intervention right now by bringing Amit Shah in the context of Delhi, saying that, you see, there are unequal people in this country. Certain people get priority, certain people don't. That's political. But at least he didn't hide behind the ruse, Mr. Rudy. He was honest. This is the difference. This is the difference between people who don't have a clear conscience and people who do.
Can I ask you something?
If you don't have a clear conscience, you can't speak the truth. You can't speak with conviction. And that's what's happening. 1 minute. Let me bring in the others who may not be able to speak with conviction today. Mr. Balakrishnan, is there collusion going on? Mr. P.K. Jain is listening, former IPS officer. Collusion, calls are being made, irregular calls, breaking norms, breaking laws, I'm being told. One particular DCP who has a habit of bearing cases did not act to save Sushant Singh Rajput's life, could have been saved. What else are you expected for us to think?
Raji, I must tell you that as far as this particular DCP, Mr. Dahiya is concerned, I have earlier received a lot of complaints about the rude manner in which he treats people. Genuine cases.
There you go.
One case which I am handling. There is a case which I am handling of a woman who is missing for the past more than 1 year. The matter went up to Mr. Dahiya. He has not shown any interest whatsoever.
And this is a man, the person who's telling us this, viewers, is not a supporter, by the way, of BJP. And if he's telling us this, then we have a big issue to deal with. Sushant Singh Rajput's life was compromised because you had an individual in the police force who has been indicted, continued in office. Now, what am I expected to say, viewers, today? Mr. Balakrishnan, elaborate. Tell us more about this, Mr. Dahiya.
He has got it, like what I said earlier, he has got a track record of being a most kind of, citizen unfriendly officer. And then he has kept in a very prime location, like in Bandra, which is a very posh, covering very big time area. A lot of celebrities staying in his jurisdiction in Bandra, Khas, Santa Cruz, that area. He has been kind of posted there. In the first place, he should not have been asked to kind of conduct this inquiry at all. The crime branch should have been called in the first place and then to conduct the investigation. And apart from that, I would like to point out that 6 days before Sushant's death, Disha Salin died in the most mysterious circumstances. And even today, the mystery regarding Disha Salin has not been kind of resolved. And Sushant knew Disha very well. He was a celebrity manager.
Viewers, I need to interrupt you. 1 second, Mr. Balakrishnan. Let's go full frame to these visuals coming in. That's Rhea Chakraborty exiting the ED office. Those are the dramatic pictures there. This is the moment that India has waited for. Some semblance of justice for Sushant Singh Rajput. Let's boost the nats and try to listen in if Rhea is taking any questions.
तर त्यांना सांगितलं पण मी अगोदरच सांगितलं त्यांना 10-15 मिनिटं अगोदरच सांगितलं
There we see viewers, the first police lady constable coming out. In any moment now, Rhea Chakraborty is going to step out. She had gone in there with her brother about 9 hours ago, almost 10 hours back. Viewers, at midday, I can begin to see the salwar kameez of Rhea Chakraborty in those pictures right behind that gentleman with the white mask in the doorway. She's right there behind him, and she's going to step out any moment. Any moment that's going to happen, and we need to listen in as to whether she's going to say anything to our reporter. Let's listen in. Vajji will be firing questions, viewers. Vajji will be firing questions. Those are her cars. They're coming up to the porch. The idea is to whisk her away. Yes, Kajal Iyer there with us. Kajal, what can you see? What's happening there behind you? Kajal, if you're there, okay. Kajal is not patched in right now. We're going to try and connect her. But these are the moments, viewers. We need to wait to find out what Rhea Chakraborty has to say. They're waiting for her car to come right up to the porch so that she can be whisked away. This is the Enforcement Directorate questioning her over financial bungling. Remember, there has been an attempt by Rhea Chakraborty allegedly to siphon off money from the accounts of Sushant Singh Rajput. And I want to go straight across to Kajal Iyer. I think she's there with us now. Kajal, what are you seeing? Kajal, can you hear me?
Rhea Chakraborty had just come in for 2 minutes. Yes. Rhea was just here trying to come outside, but there is a lot of media there. The Enforcement Directorate officials trying to, make a path for her to leave from there, the security guards, and now they have closed the gates, as you can see. It seems that she will probably be taken out from another gate. Her car was here. The car also left from here, so we don't yet know where she's going to be taken out from. But because there was a huge crowd, they had actually moved the car also from here. We are expecting that perhaps the car will take a go around, because these are, rectangular roads. So it will probably take a go around and come back right here and then take her from here, because the Enforcement Directorate officials are still here, the security guards rather, they're still here, and she appeared there on the gate for a bit and then we saw her go back in. So we're expecting her to come out any moment. The officials there.
Let me go across to Vajji. Vajji is also connected with us. Vajji, we just got a glimpse of Rhea Chakraborty, did we not? She was right there, wasn't she? Vajji, can you hear me? Okay, we can't get across to Vajji right now. He's standing there in your frames in the blue raincoat, viewers, just by the door and the grill. He's looking straight back at us. Vajji, can you hear me? Vajji, we just saw Rhea Chakraborty, did we not? We just got a glimpse of her. Yes, go ahead.
Well, yes, we got a glimpse of Rhea Chakraborty. We even asked her a question. Her father was the one who was leading them. He came in front of the gate. He stood. The media kept asking them questions, but they did not answer any of the question. And then a few minutes after that, a few bouncers came in. The private bouncers of Rhea Chakraborty came in front of the ED gate, and they were asking us to move out, for which we did not move out because we were here to ask them a few questions. We also posted a question to Rhea Chakraborty over the allegations that have been leveled against her by the father, but she did not answer any of our questions. We are still here waiting for them to come out. As you can see, this is the atmosphere over here. People are here waiting to ask her a few questions. As you all know, everybody wants the answer of what transpired that day, what was happening with her and Sushant, what led to Sushant's death, what is her role, what are the financial transactions that have happened, what is the 15 crore people are talking, what are the two properties, everything that's happening in this case. What people want an answer from that, and Rhea is the only person who can give us these answers, and that is why we are here and we are waiting for her to come out and answer all these questions. Whether she'll answer or not is something that remains to be her prerogative.
I need to keep these visuals on the screen on one side while we take a quick update. There has been a mishap. We are being told that the Air India Express aircraft from Dubai to Calicut with 191 passengers has crash landed after overshooting the runway. Fire tenders and ambulances have reached the spot, we are being told, viewers. Crash landed is the word that we need to be putting out there. Air India Express aircraft from Dubai to Calicut with 191 passengers, crash landed after overshooting the runway and going into some sort of a nala at the end of the runway. Fire tenders and ambulances have rushed to the spot. This is what we are being told. We are going to try and get you more details.